Hey everybody, this is Sean Leisha from the Karaite Jews of America. It's really early on Thursday morning, September 21st. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So far, the response to our campaign to sell 200 sets of our 5 new books from the Karaite Press for $74 is going incredibly well. The Karaite Press has had its best week ever. I want to remind you for the next few weeks, maybe the start of Sukkot, maybe the end of Sukkot, we're trying to sell these 5 new books for $74. We're trying to sell 200 copies of them. So today I want to take a deep dive into one of those 5 books. It's called You Are Holy. Let me share my screen and I'll show you like what awesomeness we've done here at the Karaite Jews of America and its publishing arm, the Karaite Press. Okay, so first of all, just to remind you, this is the cover of the book, You Are Holy, Ata Kadosh. Let me tell you what the book is, and then I'll go back to that other screen really quickly to tell you what that was. So if you are new to this, I want to just take 30 seconds, okay? So these are piyutim. Piyutim are liturgical poetry, poems that are said in prayer, right? And these are a specific type of poem or liturgical poem or piyut called Kedusha piyutim. So the Kedusha liturgy or Kedusha poetry is the section of the prayer that is dedicated to God's holiness. So mentioning and sanctifying God's holy attributes, okay? And so these are poems that are part of the Kedusha liturgy, poems that are part of the dedication to God's holiness by Rabbi or Chacham Aaron ben Joseph, the Karaite, for the weekly Torah portions. And that last part there for the weekly Torah portions is important because this rabbi, this Chacham, he wrote poems for every single Torah portion that existed in his day. We could talk about that nuance later, but he wrote a poem for every single Torah portion. And as far as I know, there were Karaite Jews. The Karaite Jews are the only Jewish movements today that recites a different poem related to the Torah portion every week. And this happens today. This is not some historical thing from 800 years ago that we're trying to bring back. This is something that happened today. I mentioned 800 years ago because this is when Chacham Aharon ben Yosef or Rabbi Aaron ben Joseph lived. So for over 800 years, we've been reciting these poems. That's pretty cool. What's not cool, though, is that most of these poems have never been translated, and most people don't understand the underlying meaning of these poems. So we're going to dive in. By the way, Rabbi Aaron ben Joseph, he was the compiler of the Karaite Siddur. So he is considered the person whose fingerprints and compositions are all over the Karaite Siddur. And it's the foundation for all Karaite Siddurim that's been used since his time. He lived about 800 years ago. Okay, so I'm going to show you now. This is the image from the Venice Siddur. Okay, so this is the image from the Venice Siddur, which was printed in 1528, well after Aaron ben Joseph died. But it's considered his Siddur because, for the most part, it was his compositions that went into the Siddur, and you'll see if you look through the Siddur, which we won't do today, that there are other compositions from people who died after him, but this is, for all intents and purposes, his Siddur. Remember we talked about he wrote poems for the weekly Torah portions. This is the poem for the Torah portion of Bereshit. You can see Bereshit right there. I'll zoom in just a little bit there for you. But you see these little marks here. They've got a mark here, a mark here, a mark here, and then a mark here. That's signifying the acrostic. It says Aharon, or the poet's name, the author's name. And then it goes on and prints the poem. And you can see these small little dots here. One here, one here, one here, one here. Those little dots are dividing lines of poetry, right? If it were not for those dots, you wouldn't have a natural place for your eyes to look to see how the line divides. And if you look closely, you'll see it says, I'll zoom in for you here. The word ends with se, this word ends with se, this word ends with se, this word ends with se. So this is also a way you could see how, if you didn't have the dots, how you could guess where the line ended, because you've got this rhyme here. And the next one here is la, 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 la. So all of the poems in the Venice Siddur have these dots. So look here, El Melech, and then you could see this dot here, this dot here, this dot here, and this dot here. That's signifying where the line breaks. But notice how they don't correspond to any particular line, right? It's just printed continuously with those things that, let's just say, function as a line break demarker or a period, although it's not necessarily a period, it's really just a poetic line break, okay? So that's what it looked like in the Venice Siddur. This is what it looks like in the current Karaite Siddur. So remember I talked to you about the acrostic? We use here, segolta, 3 dots on top. So that's the aleph. There's the hey, there's the resh, and there's the nun. So again, printed continuously. And at the end of every stanza here, right, they've got 3 dots. Okay. So let me show you how we've printed this in a Takadosh. Let's go back to Bereshit. This is what happens when you don't prepare in advance. Okay, so in Atakadosh, the book, we start every poem with an introduction and explains this poem is written in quatrains, that is 4-line stanzas, which Aaron Ben Joseph has a slight tendency to prefer for more festive parashiot, Torah portions. And then the stanza helps a poet divide the poem into themes. It says what's going on in the first stanza, what's going on in the second stanza, what's going on in the third stanza, and what's going on in the fourth stanza, okay? So we give you an introduction so you can help orient yourself and navigate your way through the poem. Okay, now let's see how we actually did the format of the poem. So we restored the entire poetic structure. And you could see here, instead of having a dot and then things continuing, we have just put them in its structure. So one stanza of 4 lines, a second stanza of 4 lines, a third stanza of 4 lines, a fourth, right? This poem, so again, you can see here, rhyme ends with se, la, 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 la. So you could see the actual rhyme with your eyes immediately. This poem has what's called a final biblical line. At the end of every stanza, there is a line that is from the Tanakh. And in our liturgical tradition, that line is said by the congregation, the kahal. So we denoted it kahal, or over here, congregation. And we put for you what the biblical citation is here and here. So you could see it's from 1 Samuel 20:19. We have the acrostic in large bold letters. We've also numbered the lines for you, so you're able to kind of follow along with the translation. Obviously, his original Siddur and his original poems didn't number lines, but that's what we have here. And then I want to show you what's on the next page here, because I think the next page is pretty awesome. Hey, everybody, before I go further on this video, I want to show you exactly how to buy these books. So you can go to thekaraitepress.com right here. You can click on any one of these first 5 books, but let's just click on You Are Holy, because that's the book I'm talking about today. You click on that, and you can see the normal price is $64.95. Right now, it's on sale for $50 or under $50. If you want all 5 books, though, this September 2023 books, just come down here and click Add to Bundle, and all of the books will be added to you for $74. Now, depending on where you live, you might pay shipping and handling, but that's how you do it. So can't wait. Let's go back to the video so you guys can learn more about this book here, You Are Holy. Okay, so again, if you're new to poetry, or if you're new to understanding how poems work, we've again put the structure for you. Here's the structure, here's the acrostic. The acrostic again is his name in this case. And then we have, you are God, who are elevated as head above all. Then it says elevated as head above all, right? It's bolded here, so we are telling you there's going to be a comment on it. And it says, compare Chronicles 29:11, yours, Adonai, is greatness and that which is elevated above every head. So it shows you that this is a poetic reference. For those of you who are not Karaites, or who are just interested in liturgical tradition in general, even if you are Karaites, we have this comment here, hiding place of your strength, hiding place of your strength. And you can see just throughout, so we give an explanation of what it means, but throughout this commentary, we're explaining to you that there's a lot of rabbinic understanding, a lot of rabbinic influence, not in any bad way. Like I know sometimes when I say rabbinic influence, or other people say rabbinic influence, Kara's like, that's rabbinic influence. This is not in any bad way here. This is really just a beautiful way that we can understand what this poet is saying. And if some of the things he said have roots in the rabbinic tradition, we want you to know that. We want you to understand it so you can really study these things. And I will say that Aharon ben Yosef, Rabbi Aaron ben Joseph, has many things that were influenced by the rabbinic tradition, including many parts of the structure of the liturgy. And that's beautiful, right? There's some things that he's got in this book that completely incorporates rabbinic midrash. So I think when you flip through the book, you'll find that really fascinating to see that a Karaite in his poems is incorporating rabbinic midrash. Like that was a little hard for me to get my head around, but you'll see it throughout the entire book. Let's go to the next page here. I want to show you. Okay, yeah. Here's another comment for you. He established the luminaries to rule over the day and the night. He established the luminaries to rule over the day and the night. And then it said, that's where it comes from. And then he began with a greater one and finished with a smaller one. That is, he made the sun first and then the moon. The poet uses the word of Genesis 44:12, where they mean that Joseph's stewards searched through the bags of all of Joseph's brothers, beginning with the bag belonging to the oldest and ending with that of the youngest. The poet uses them to refer to the sun and the moon because Genesis 1:16, which we just saw right here, refers to the sun as a greater luminary and the moon as a smaller luminary. So you could see here that the poet used biblical phrases from one context and applied them to completely different contexts. You're going to see that throughout the entire book. And he did this rather brilliantly. And because our translator and commentator, Dr. Gabriel Wasserman, knows PUT, knows poetry inside and out, and knows Tanakh inside and out, and knows rabbinic tradition inside and out, and through his work from the Karaite press, and before that knows Karaite tradition virtually inside and out, he's able to pull from all these different sources and add them into this commentary so that you can understand the poetic structure, so you can understand the biblical references, the rabbinic references, the Karaite references, and that you can get more meaning and value out of your weekly prayer. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone.